back talking about the Indiana Jones movies on this channel. If you don't know, I'm reviewing every single Indiana Jones movie leading up to Dial of Destiny in June. I've already talked about Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom. I love both of those. And now let's talk about the third one, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Another movie that I love. It's so good. Just to spoil things right off the bat, it's great. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade came out in 1989, is the third Indiana Jones movie, and once again stars Harrison Ford as the titular character. And this time, Indiana Jones is on a quest to achieve the Holy Grail before the Nazis and Walter Donovan do, and he's joined on his adventure by a whole slew of people, from Sala to Marcus Brody to his father, Henry Jones Sr., played by Sean Connery. There's a lot of people out there that will say that Last Crusade is better than Raiders. They like it a lot more than Raiders. I can agree to an extent, because if you give me that argument, I see where you're coming from. I would say that of them, I think Raiders is the more iconic one, whereas Crusade is probably the best one. It's the one that I have fun watching the most, even though I love Raiders. This really took it back to the tone of Raiders as well. They brought back the Nazis. It wasn't this voodoo ritualistic thing. They brought back religious artifacts that Indiana Jones and his gang were going after. So it had that tone back to it. I think that's what Spielberg needed to do after he got a lot of criticism for the tone and the content and the direction that they decided to take with Temple of Doom. It seemed like it was more back to earth for Indiana Jones, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That makes this movie's pace breezy as hell, just like the last two. It feels like it's a 45-minute movie. Before you know it, the movie is over. That's how well paced Spielberg made these movies back in the day. There's a lot happening on screen. There's a lot of chases. The story is so involving. That's a big part of what makes these first three Indiana Jones movies so good. And what makes Last Crusade so good is Sean Connery as Henry Jones Sr. Rest in peace, man. This is probably going to be my favorite aspect to talk about with the Indiana Jones movies, because Sean Connery just brings so much to this role. There was nobody else who could play Indiana Jones's dad. And who would have ever thought that we would have Han Solo and the original James Bond on screen together as father and son? It works so well. The dynamic is so well played. Henry Jones Sr. seems like a stern man, but he's a man that has a lot of comedy to him, you know? It's just the two different ideologies that clash. Like, Indiana Jones will shoot a room full of people and his father will be really pissed at him and be like, "Look what you've done."
Why do you think I sent it home in the first place? So it wouldn't fall into their hands. I came here to save you. Oh, yeah? And who's gonna come to save you, Junior? I told you. Don't call me Junior. Look what you did.
Or that, you know, that whole motorcycle chase where Indiana Jones is just smiling and his dad's just like, just looking at him like, "I can't believe you're doing this." There's so many moments sprinkled like that throughout the movie that just enhance Indiana Jones's character and make the relationship between Indy and his dad the quintessential father-son relationship in any movie ever. I have not seen a movie that has done a father-son relationship better than Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. And once again, we have one of the greatest action scenes ever put on screen. Raiders had the truck chase, Temple had the minecart chase, and here we have the tank chase. The tank chase is so riveting. I love how Brody gets involved in the action in this one too. He's got some zingers in here, and Indiana Jones just hanging off the side of the tank. That had to have been a really hot day, and I mean, I'm assuming Harrison Ford did all of his own stunts for that scene. It's crazy, because I guarantee you, I think I read that Harrison Ford almost died in that scene, which is crazy. The man's crazy. He keeps flying planes. He keeps doing his own stunts where these death-defying stunts at that. And how somehow Harrison Ford is still alive. Thank God, because he's awesome. But like, I'm not wishing death upon a human being like that. But when you think about the things that he's done in his life, like that death-defying stunts and how he almost died in this, and then before Blade Runner 2049 came out, how he flew a plane and got in a plane crash. That was like the world telling us, oh, that's like the gods telling us not to make Blade Runner 2049. Just stuff like that. Harrison Ford's great, man. And speaking of Harrison Ford, there is something that happens in this movie at the beginning, is that they give Indiana Jones a backstory. You see, Last Crusade is the one that really fleshes out the Indy character. Harrison Ford has this scar on his chin, so they explain where Indiana Jones got that scar, from a whip. They show you where Indiana Jones got the inspiration for the fedora. He's going after the Cross of Coronado at the beginning. It belongs in a museum! Audio! And even before that, it's when River Phoenix plays a young Indiana Jones. That scene is really cool. And this band of thieves, see him escape with the Cross of Coronado as they're going through the train, and they see him go out the back, and you can just see the look on that thief's face where he's just like, yeah, you're gonna do big things. And he just puts that fedora on Indiana Jones's head when he comes to Indy's house, and his father is seen off screen, and then it just cuts to Indy trying to get that Cross of Coronado back. Having that backstory and the father and son relationship really added a lot of depth to Indy as a character, and you can say that this is the one where Indy feels like he's an actual character, where he is fleshed out, whereas in the previous installments it was he had characteristics and he had a character, but not to this extent. Every action scene in this movie is great. I mean, the tank chase I've already talked about. It's the standout one. It's the most iconic one in this scene. The trials at the end that they have to encounter and go through to get to the Holy Grail. Those are some iconic scenes in film history, and it kind of scared me when I was a little kid, because I was like, this reminds me of like the death traps in Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time. Remember when you had like all those like buzz saws and the swinging spikes in the Sands of Time, and you had to somehow maneuver your way through those? That's exactly what it reminded me of. I love how Indy and the gang have to figure out the clues to how to get past each certain trial to get to the Holy Grail. It's really great stuff. And the movie becomes even more emotional when his father gets shot and Donovan makes Indy go through all these trials to get the Holy Grail. And Donovan is the one who chooses poorly. Indy's the one who chooses wisely. And there is something here in this movie that I actually really appreciate. And it's telling you that just because you find a national treasure or an ancient artifact, there's things that are more important than that. For instance, when everything is crumbling around them, Indy is holding Elsa Schneider by her arm, and he's like, I can pull you up. And she's like, but I can grab it. And the Holy Grail's right there on the ledge, and she's too greedy to even let Indy pull her up, and she drops. The same situation happens with Indy and his father, and his father's like, let it go, son. And that just proves to you that it was, hey, they found it, but they don't need to keep it. They found the discovery of a lifetime. And that's something I've always, always loved about Last Crusade. That final 30 minutes or so is so tension-filled. It just packs an emotional punch and has that message that, you know what, maybe we get too greedy. Maybe we don't need everything that we want. We can just let some of the things that we really want just go. It's not that important to us. We found what we needed, but we don't need to keep it. Steven Spielberg directs the hell out of this movie again. He moves characters in and out of scenes as well as he always does. He's got a knack. I mean, he brings back the tone of Raiders, but with the same brutality that Raiders, and not as much brutality as Temple, but to that extent. I've said this in the past too, reviews, that this is the side of Spielberg that I miss. I really miss when Spielberg would just go for it, when he would just make a straightforward action movie. And sure, he made Ready Player One within the last few years, but I still don't feel like that Ready Player One really captures the intensity of earlier Spielberg films like the Indiana Jones movies. He was a completely different director back in the day, and I just wish that for one movie before he retires or before he passes away, don't even want to think about that he can just give us one more intense movie like this. He has it in him. I know he does. It seemed like after he made Jurassic Park, there was something that changed with him. He was so burnt out on The Lost World, and The Lost World's still pretty well directed, even if it's not his best effort, but you can tell with that movie that something changed with him. and something changed with him after Temple of Doom. I feel as if he brought the last best pieces of his directing to not only Jurassic Park in 93, but here to The Last Crusade. These two movies are really the big movies where I feel like Spielberg was just all in and really gave audiences a big, eye-popping, mind-blowing blockbuster. And that is the spirit that I wish Spielberg would capture again. And he captures that so greatly with Raiders, Temple, and Last Crusade. And I love that final scene where they all ride off into the sunset and the trilogy is over. Oh, but wait, there's one in 2008 we still have to talk about. Oh, and I gotta grade this thing. And obviously, like I said, I don't have a single problem with The Last Crusade. It's got great action. The tank chase is the standout, but all the other action scenes are great. Lots of great comedy interplay between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery. I mean, you could tell that Sean Connery was their choice. They purposely wrote S's and H's into the script so he could just say every word like, "Son, you got to come with me so that I can show you the way. This is how I'm going to talk the whole movie because I'm Sean Connery. I was James Bond." Okay. I love their father-son dynamic, how they're completely different people, act completely different, but yet they still have that father and son bond where they love each other. And that message that greed doesn't trump everything. You got to let some things go. And it still has the intensity that early Spielberg movies had. And I never tire of watching Raiders, Temple, or Crusade. I can watch them any day of the week, and it's still very fast-paced, that brisk nature to it that the first two had. Of course, guys, you know what it is. I gave the same score to both Raiders and Temple, and I know my giving an A+ to Temple is probably controversial, but I have to do the same here, and I'm going to give Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade an A+. We've completed the Indiana Jones series, but as I said before, they decided to make a fourth one. And now we're getting a fifth one. Well, we'll just see. Stay tuned for my review of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull coming very soon. We'll see if that's on par with these movies. It's not. What are your thoughts on The Last Crusade, guys? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.